All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks, whatever time it is in your part of the world. We're excited to have you and appreciate you tuning in with Customer IO. We are a customer engagement platform that allows you to integrate your behavioral data from your app and then create segments and build cross-channel messaging campaigns. We work with a lot of self-service model companies and also product-led growth model companies, mostly because there's a big need to adapt and react to messaging to keep customers on track towards whether it's product adoption, activation, conversion goals. Those are all topics that we're going to be jumping into today. I'd like to go ahead and introduce our guest, Alessandra. She's here with us from Workana, email marketing strategist. Alessandra, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about Workana?
Thank you, Elijah. Hi, guys. I'm very happy to be here. Well, I'm email marketing strategist at Workana. So I've been working with email marketing since, I don't know, I work, there are 8 years that I work with email marketing. And it was a real pleasure to start working with Customer IO. Our mission is to connect talents and projects. So if you are an entrepreneur that you need projects to solve something, you need some help, or you need, I don't know, a talent, an IT talent. So we are an answer for you. You can publish your project there, and we are going to offer you the best quality of talents from Latin America. So that's our specialty. We have all the best talents in Latin America, and you can solve your problems if creating a project, and we're going to match with those people. So that's how we work, finding qualified talent to work remotely to your company.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, Alessandra. We're excited to have you. I appreciate you sharing a bit about Workana. As I'm sure you know, and probably a lot of the folks in the audience, competition in this space has continued to grow and even
Yes.
skyrocket really exponentially since probably COVID, which means that if you want to win in this space, you have to create a uniquely personalized experience for your users, right? Which is something that we'll be diving into today. So when we go ahead and switch to our agenda, we'll actually start by chatting through a few things. We'll start with strategies for increasing customer engagement and driving repeat actions. We'll also give you some practical how-tos, something along the lines of staying top of mind using lifecycle campaigns. And of course, we can't leave out the data. So we're going to talk about identifying customer behaviors at each stage of the life cycle. And considering that Workana is a marketplace self-service company, we'll talk about what those different customers look like as well. So our overall goal is to answer the question today: how do you use lifecycle marketing to increase customer lifetime value for your self-service company? And maybe for the folks, Alessandra, who aren't as familiar with the term, how would you describe a self-service model? And maybe what does that look like for Workana?
Well, for us, self-service, this self-service model is that you can publish your project, you can choose the person you like, you can do everything by yourself. So it's not only our we have another business unity that is directed to companies, bigger companies, in which we help choosing the best talents. So for example, if you publish a project today in Workana, you probably receive, I don't know, 10 and 20 proposals for your project. So it can be hard sometimes for you to choose. So if you need some help, we do have business unities specialized on choosing the talent. But as a self-service company, you also have the option to choose yourself what you want to talk to the talents, and choose the best for you, what the one that fits better with what you need in your company. And many times it happens that you're looking for a person who does one thing, and that this person can also solve another point that you need to be solved in your company. So this is it. We are really, really, we really believe in this freedom you have to do your stuff, and the freedom people also have to work. So as you were commenting about COVID and how things changed in the era of work. And in fact, that was a real, in fact, that showed the world what we were doing in Workana, because there are 10 years that we are working with people that work from home to many companies, and with this new type of work, where we are free to work with who we want to work, and the projects we believe we can solve the problems, we can lead to success. And the companies also need that freedom today. So
Certainly.
we work remotely, and we are here to conduct, in our strategies are made to conduct that people, the talents and the clients, to that experience, because I know not many companies have this experience of working remotely and choosing the best person. So everything we do in our content, our emails, our messages are done to lead that people to the best projects and the success in the projects.
Yeah, and it sounds like, with this transition, although you guys have a lot of experience in it, you are kind of allowing the user or the customer per se to be in the driver's seat, to kind of take control, which is kind of where I want to start today. And so I think the first thing that we'll lead into is strategies for increasing engagement and driving repeat actions. So we're going to start early in the life cycle and talk about onboarding here in a minute, but I wanted to kind of get more hands-on and give the audience some additional context into what that driver's seat might feel like in Workana. So I signed up for Workana myself to get a firsthand feel for the user experience. And I noticed a couple of things right off the bat. So as I'm building out my profile, there's some educational material integrated in the sign up process and some upfront contracts. And so I wanted you to talk a little bit more about this. You mentioned, they are in the driver's seat, but it's also a lot of work on your end. What are you hoping your users accomplish by the end of the onboarding sign up stage?
You signed up as a talent, and here, as I said, we are looking for the best talents of Latin America, so we can match with the best opportunities and the best projects of the companies. So all this onboarding process is made to first understand who you are, because as you saw in the onboarding, you tell me which are your talents, you tell me with what you are going to work with. So based on that, we are giving you information, asking questions to see if you understood how you can work at Workana, so, and how you can offer your job for the clients. So in this process, we are also we are selecting, as I can say, the people who are really interested in cooperating with our clients, because we want everyone to have the best experience. So that's why we conduct this process and we give information, because we want people to understand how it works, and at the same time we want to offer the best people who are really interested and who really wants to cooperate with the company, so the environment is healthy. So, everyone has what they want. The person who really has the talent has a good project. We have this filter up to have good projects too, and the people who has projects has quality talents to choose. So this match is important for us.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it sounds like there's a hybrid of developing this like mutual understanding and mutual trust that I am getting the most out of the platform, while also ensuring for your end, as the company, to make sure that you're getting the best quality talent as well up front, which is going to be best for all parties involved. So that's really
Yes.
interesting. And it's also in a way kind of creating a sense of urgency for gauging engagement
Yes.
right out of the gate, which is really interesting that you do. I noticed I went through this test. It's 10 questions only, but you can't necessarily tackle a project until you've completed those correctly. And each question doesn't really feel like, a gate that I have to get through in order to be on the other side, but rather educating me so that I fully understand what I'm getting into. And I think that's really valuable, considering it is a self-service model and they're in the driver's seat. So that's really cool to see that you guys have integrated that. And I'm sure it is huge attribute to why you guys are so successful straight out the gate. So I'm curious, what specific tactics do you use maybe within customer IO to personalize your onboarding campaigns?
Well, one thing that we love in Customer IO is that as we are a platform, we need that everything that the users fill in the profile, we can use it. We are able to use it in Customer IO. So um, when you add a skill, when you add your name, when you add I don't know, any information, we use it to personalize our emails. And not only the emails, I mean, as a platform, everything you do, not everything, but almost everything you do in the platform, we track it, so we understand in which moment you are right now. So for
Mm,
example, if you created a project, we know that we send emails related to that. If you send proposals to a project as a talent, we also do send information related to that. So we can, it's like you're never alone. It's a self-service, but you're never alone because we are
yeah.
guiding you to the next step. And for example, many challenges we have here in with talents. I don't know. For example, someone who sends many bids, many proposals, but nobody accepted yet those proposals. So we give tips to have better proposals, to be competitive, and we are always guiding you to based on the behavior you have and the information you give us. So customer IO in this process is really important for us because we can really track the behavior of the user and
Yeah.
be together with them.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's almost a balance of, hand holding, but not necessarily in an intrusive way, but kind of
Yes.
staying close to the customer and making sure that they feel supported without necessarily feeling like the hover mentality. And so that's
Yeah.
one thing that is really interesting, coming into play straight from the beginning of the life cycle. And I would imagine, like you mentioned, I'm the one telling you as the customer what type of talents I have, what type of jobs I want to look for. So I'm curious, what kind of different customers come in and maybe how do those needs differ?
Well, we have today we have three big groups of users. Um, One are the clients who publish projects and are the people who give opportunities for the people who wants to work. And this is one type. And we have two kinds of talents. We have the IT talent that they have they have some special things we need to do because as you may know, IT, when we're talking about IT talents, we don't have so many people as in other skills. So we need, for
Sure.
example, send them certifications to understand how much experience they have in some skills. We are also matching with big companies, so we really follow those IT talents, and we have the talents of other categories like design, copywriting, marketing, and those kind of stuff. So those three groups, and based on the information we have about them, we send special emails for them for each group.
Okay. Yeah, and that was kind of my follow-up question is like, are there any specific data points that you're looking at to segment these users?
In fact, we look to everything. For example, talking about IT talents, for example, now we have an integration. It's just an example. We have an integration that when someone selects that it's an IT talent and has some specific skill, we send that person a specific test about that skill, so the person can testify, no, not testify, but can show that the experience he or she has with that skill. So
Hmm.
you really use many informations about the person, the pages the person visited, how many projects sent, how many projects created. If we have also a ranking in the for the talents, so based on how many people, how many projects you're participating, we have like iron and gold, silver positions. And
Nice.
we take all that information and transform and content to send content to that person. And as I said, we are part of this process, guiding the person in with new information and new orientation.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the insight. And, what I'm gathering is that all as alongside education, but the personalization is the primary key to really activating these users and leading them to their first project and then getting them off on a good foot. So that's really interesting too, is you don't want them to only complete one project and then drop off, right? So
Yes.
let's say a user has been active in your platform, they found and completed their first project successfully. What are you doing to guide this user further into the product and keep them engaged? I heard you mention a couple of things about like badges and different tiers. Could you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yes. As we want people, active users in our platform, this activity also, we have rewards. I mean, and as they are active, so it is related of how many proposals they send, how they are helping the clients. So, for example, if you have a successful project, you have better rates than the people. I don't know if someone didn't complete the project, for example. And we are always tracking this. For example, if someone takes, I don't know, if someone joins a project and is in 3 days, the person didn't finish the project and didn't even send a message to the client. We send a message, an email asking, is everything okay? Did you start the work? It's really important if you start right now. It's really important the communication with the client. So
Yeah.
this is all to give the best experience to the talents and to the clients too, so everyone feels safe that the things are being done, the project is okay and it's running. So we do it we do it in all the journey, like we mapped the journey, the customer journey and the talent's journey. So we know since the person signs in the platform until the projects that are coming, the published projects, we can see all the flow, and based on
Mm.
the flow we can see we made that a map of events we track, emails we send, and based on that we can have an overview and plan how we are going to interact with the users, in which moment we are not sending a message. For example, one thing we made last year was about clients publishing projects, because when you have a company, you always have things to be done in your company. So we were sending messages when people created the first project and created the second project, but we realized, for example, that someone that let's give an example, creates a logo, needs also to create a website. So
Hmm.
when a person, for example, creates a logo, we send days or weeks later an email asking if they need a website, so we can suggest thing based on things we know our clients do, we know our clients need, and we are always guiding to that next step, so the companies, the small companies and can grow faster, because we do have the talent, and maybe you need some things that you didn't realize yet. So we are here to conduct you to, it's like the process many people pass through, and we are using now that knowledge to help you grow faster.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're trying to stay top of mind through the messaging, but overall to decrease the time to value and increase that platform adoption once they're already within the platform. And it's cool to hear that you're taking kind of their previous experience with you and kind of the actions that they've taken, those customer behaviors that we mentioned, and powering that into a more proactive style communication, whether it's a message, a push notification, to get them to take that further steps. So, like you mentioned, creating a website if they've already got the logo and whatnot. So, I know you mentioned in our previous conversation too that to best serve both the employers and the talents, you'll offer projects based on profile data. Some of
Yes.
that opted-in messaging, is that like to help find a best match for both parties earlier on? How are you using that data?
Yes, we one kind of campaign we use, for example, it's when you create a project. For example, let's say that I need a project to create a website, and I have the top freelancers that has the skills that I need to create a website. So we send an email, given suggesting those people. So these
Mm,
are some talents we have in our platform that has the skills and have good rates and are active in our platform. So it's easier for you to choose. So we're always matching the information that the users have, the client and the talents have, so we can match faster those projects. It's faster. For many times it happens that you create today a project to solve something, and today you start working with that, people start working with that project, because we really make efforts to make it easy, to the match to happen. So that's how we manage our data, always matching the best things, like the best projects and the best people.
yeah. And I know you work with primarily Latin American countries. Do you account for having various languages of your customer base
Yes,
in the context of messaging and newsletters?
yes. And customer A also has a, a thing that we use, that we really use, that as in our platform, people people work worldwide. So for example, there are people in Brazil that work with Australian people and puts our platform in English. So we track that data. And if someone puts the platform in English, we can understand that this person wants the communication in English. So we track that data and we make like multiple split branches. So we send the email according to the language of each user. This has a better we have better open rates and click rates based on that, because we are really matching the information the user gives us with the experience he or she wants to have. So that's how we use it. So um, we can reach people all over the place, or all over the world, with different kinds of communications. Today we send emails in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, that are the main languages in our database. But we're always trying to understand how many people are signing up from other countries, so we can understand if it's time to give another step on the languages we use.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And again, it goes back to that personalization, creating a one-to-one experience, despite having so many customers, is, messaging your users in the way that they want to be messaged. And that's a very important attribute to be able to track. So I'm glad that you guys are able to do that. I have one final question on as this category goes, but are there any channels that you've been prioritizing lately for your messages? I feel like there was one maybe in particular that you were using.
We always, I think that the one secret in the personalization of our communication is always trying new things. So today, our main channel is email, but we also we tried push notifications. We are also trying WhatsApp. So if, for example, you create a project, you can receive a message in WhatsApp telling if someone sent a proposal. So we are always open to test and try those new channels, so we can
Yeah.
increase our rates. And I think the most important is to be together with the client. If someone is using more, for example, in Brazil now, we are using more WhatsApp. So why are we going to use only email if we can reach you better
Exactly.
with WhatsApp? So we are always open to try that channels, and those three are the ones we are trying right now.
Nice. Do you have any examples of tests that you've run during this product adoption stage, maybe with these different channels to see? Is that how you came to the outcome of it being a popular channel?
Yes. For example, in push notifications, we were making a test, because as at Workana also have we have an app. So if a person has an app, it's easier to send and pop up notification, push notification, than and giving sending an email. So, for example, we were trying to increase our revenue, and based on that, we mapped every campaign that uh, in fact the campaigns that were had more impact in our revenue, and based on that and the time the person needs to respond to every communication, we also test the push notification on that campaigns. So that's how we do it. Also, it's like we never try something in and all over the place. First we select some campaigns, we test, we see the results, and based on that results, we decide to put in other campaigns, to add more campaigns. And we are always, well, we don't want to send too much emails, to send too much push up notifications. So we are always, um, I mean, selecting the ones that are going to be annoying for our customers, because they
Yeah.
will receive too much push notifications, for example. So that's how we do it. So, and it had a great impact, for example, in push notification to our clients, because we realized that in fact the revenue wasn't, the difference in revenue wasn't so big. But one thing that we really saw that the answer, the time needed to respond to that behavior was shorter. So,
Mm.
for example, if someone publishes a project and needs a reminder to accept a bid, so that was faster when the person received the a push notification, for example. So this is good for us because we also make our flux, the information of everything, the process faster, and it's better for everyone.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned too that you did it in a controlled environment, and I think that's one
Yes.
thing that's really valuable about customer IO. One thing that I really love is with testing, you can have it in real time, so you can integrate it within any campaign that you have, get the results in real time, and kind of pivot. And it's interesting too that your hypothesis for the revenue shift was the primary goal, but what you found was a secondary conclusion of getting that response time quicker, which is actually still beneficial to the client. So you never really know what the outcome can be. We did a similar event where we talked about testing with marketplace type companies previously. And that was one thing that we had uncovered is that, when you have a controlled environment, you can test one outcome, but it's okay if you get another outcome. And that's something that I think is really interesting. So overall, it still seems that push notifications were beneficial to be using at the time.
Yes, and we never know anything. I mean, for example, right now we are implementing campaign, and we have like two teams working on that campaign. And one team thinks it's better if we use, for example, a button, and other team thinks it's better if we write an email, a simple email.
Yeah.
So we test. We don't know, so we test. We
Yeah.
make an A/B testing. And one thing I really like in Customer IO is that they have that, well, they calculate if the result of the test is accurate. So it's not me who is saying that this is the best decision. So we have
Yeah.
a machine telling me that we have enough data to trust that result. So this is really better, and you feel really safe when you're taking decision.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to be able to have that power back in the marketing team's hand. And there's always going to be something that comes up, whether it's in a meeting or just in a new project, new campaign, where there's a general hypothesis on something that may be very a very large decision, or maybe something as small as like, a subject line header, or, copy HTML versus anything. So it's cool that you guys are just able to test it out. And like you mentioned, that statistical significance is something that is really valuable and sometimes a little bit difficult to calculate depending on your audience size. So having that capability, and being able to do so, give you that confidence just from, right from where you're working within the platform is really valuable. So thank you for sharing that. It sounds like the overarching goal here is to create that very tailored one-to-one experience for each user. But I'm also curious about how you integrate both the data from the talent side as well as the company or like employer side. So let's talk about that a little bit more. What specific customer data points are you looking at to create more of like a community experience? Is it languages? I know you have courses and certifications to complete, anything based off of skills. Could you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yes, to do this matching, we use data. We use the skills, the information about the skills, the information about which country the person belongs, the language the user is using right now, previous information of, for example, if let's say that I didn't use, I didn't, I didn't. I didn't put in my profile that I work with some skill, but I worked on a project that required that skill. So we add that information too, and we start sending examples of projects that were really posted on our platform, so you can send bids. So we take all that kind of information, everything you put there about, for example, how many time is going to last that project, if it's one-time job or if something you want to contract hire by hours. So
Mm-hmm.
we really match our users based on that. For example, now in our, if you sign up now in our platform, we are selecting people who are IT full-time jobs, who want to IT full-time jobs, and people who want IT part-time jobs. We are going to
Mm-hmm.
send different projects for that people, because the expectations of the employer are also different. The employers who wants full-time, who wants to offer full-time jobs, they don't want someone who wants to take a job and solve the thing and go to another thing. So we really use all the data we ask in our onboarding process, used to make that matching easier.
Oh, so that's interesting. So it starts as early as onboarding, and then as they continue to use the platform, you're kind of helping them update their profile or suggesting things that they can do to make themselves more
Yes.
marketable to both
One
sides.
example
Oh, that's really
one,
interesting.
one example we have, for example, we have a plan that we call Workana Max. That is, when we created it, we were thinking about employers who create many projects and they always need someone working in a project. So we have lots of benefits for Workana Max clients. And if we track out your behavior, and we can see you're creating many projects, we offer you Workana Max, because it's going to be easier for you to, and you're going to have the benefits if you sign up in Workana Max. So that's how we use it. We also track your behavior to understand if your profile um, is well, if your profile, if now you can have benefits that you're not having because you don't know any information or something like that.
Nice. Yeah. And as far as win back and re-engagement goes, are there any specific tactics? It sounds like you're pitching like special offers as well and deals to get them back, to continue being an active customer. Are you trying to lead any folks back who are maybe at risk of churn or at risk of drop off through baby steps, or is it more of like a direct re-engagement strategy?
Yes, in fact, here we know that for the worker, we have this law that always change, because we do have people in our platform that is total 100% remote and 100% freelancer, or has a full-time job in Workana. And we know there are people that come and go based on, I don't know, some months. So one thing that's important for an email marketing management is that you can't, you have also users that are not active in your platform, because it can be bad for your deliverability. So we make like cleanups. What we do, we make cleanups in every 3 months, and if the person signs up again, we bring that person to customer.io, so we can send emails giving updates about what happened in the platform, if you're working in a different way, the benefits of working on that way. So the person, it's not like the person is going to register and see everything different, and it's alone in that place. We also understand that people have different moments in their career lives, and we are here to conduct that person once the person comes back. So to avoid that people leave, we are always for example, for workers, we are always sending, I think every day or every 2 days, I don't remember, sending projects that are related to the skills the person has. So it is easier because, for example, someone can stop using the platform because can't find a project. So we make easier for them to find a project that has the skills that needs the skills they have. And for the client, we also do something similar. As I said, we track the behavior, the last projects that were published, and we can understand in which step the company is right now, what's the next step, what the person needs right now. So we, for example, there's an email we give, it's like a plan you have. That is, if you're in that step, your things you may need are this and that. If you're in that step, you need etc etc etc. So the person can match every step and understand if he or she needs a new project. So that's how we promote that project creation, the platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I think what we've heard the entire time as well is this overall strategy of staying close to the customer in a way that's going to be most efficient for where they're at in the customer journey for them. So I don't want to steal the thunder. I think we talked about this previously, but is there any final wrap-up question? Is there any advice you would give to folks at self-service companies who are looking to drive a greater impact with their lifecycle marketing campaigns?
There's one thing I hear, I think, since I started, that is people saying that email marketing is over and no one opens email marketing anymore. And what I can say that is that people are like, they are tired of emails and an experience of emails who aren't personalized, that you're treating everyone like they are the same. So that's what people can't handle anymore. But if you personalize your communication, if you understand what is happening with your users right now, it's really easier for you to connect with them, have better open rates and better click rates too, and and have better revenue, etc. And what comes from that, because I think the key is to understand your your customer journey, and how you can help, how you can connect to them in each step of this conversation and each step of the process. And the second thing it's really important in this process is test. You never know what's the best, you never know what's going to work better. So your audience, testing and trying new things and giving the opportunity to discover some things. Maybe, as I said, it's not where your hypothesis is not validated, but you discover something new that you can say, oh, okay, so I can work in that step, I can work in that way.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I think are the keys to an email marketing strategy, a successful one.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alessandra. It's been an absolute treat learning from you today. And everything that you've said, I think really resonates with some of these folks who needed to hear that self-service doesn't mean that your customer is alone. It doesn't mean that you can kind of just drop off and pop back in when you see necessary. It really is about staying close to the customer. So thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciated your expertise.
Thanks for everyone who was here. I'm really happy to share this moment with you.